What's up, guys? This is Chris Bowling here. I'm doing a slide, a PowerPoint on heart disease today. This is a topic that I've learned a lot about lately myself, hearing a lot of videos and different information. And I wanted to put everything in a slide and show you guys today and do a little talk about it. And I actually learned quite a bit of information that I wasn't aware of by researching for this PowerPoint. So the main thing I want to focus on today is really on this disease. Is there really anything you can do about it? Heart disease around the world in 2015 claimed the lives of 8,760,000 people. That's definitely a whole lot of people. A fact that I wasn't aware of that I found really interesting was that 1 in 4 people in the United States die from heart disease every year, which is really crazy. So like out of just everyone that dies of different related diseases in the United States, 1 in 4 people die from heart disease. They also said that every minute, someone dies from this disease in the United States. This is definitely like a huge epidemic, and it's crazy that this disease doesn't get as much more focus than it already does. Um, Heart disease has been the leading cause of death for the last 15 years before a survey was taken in 2015. So this is definitely one of the largest causes of death in the world in the United States, and it's an issue that definitely needs more attention. So first of all, what is heart disease? Well, heart disease or atherosclerosis is the hardening of plaque in your arteries. So if too much plaque builds up in your arteries, blood flow can be prevented from flowing, and it can lead to a blood clot, which is commonly known as a heart attack. So this is really how heart disease leads to death among individuals, and we'll see in the next slide. Kind of the question is like, when does this disease start? So there wasn't really too much information on this topic until they did a survey after the Korean War. A bunch of like U.S. soldiers that died in the Korean War, they did autopsies on them, and lo and behold, they were looking around, and they were stunned that there was a lot of heart disease in a lot of the soldiers. So the average age of the soldiers was 22.1 years old, and 77.3% of those soldiers had been found to have coronary heart disease. So, this was definitely a shocking finding because a lot of people kind of before then thought that, okay, heart disease, claims the lives of people that maybe are in their 40s, 50s, 60s. It's more of a disease that's related with more elderly people. And, it's something that you might die of as you get older. But this study was really important in kind of pointing scientists in the right direction that no, this disease actually starts much earlier than is commonly thought. Um, so yeah, the this study, it shows that atherosclerosis begins in the arteries years and decades before the disease actually comes to the surface, and people might have a heart attack or chest pain occurs. So what's really scary about heart disease is a lot of people can have heart disease and not really realize it, and there's a lot of people that die from heart disease after their first symptoms start showing within an hour of getting them due to a heart attack. So this is a disease that everyone has to be conscious of, and um, be able to treat and take the action to not get it in the first place, so you don't die from this disease that 1 in 4 people die from each and every year. Um, so basically, scientists, also did a study, and some kids in San Antonio actually, and they were looking at their arteries, and they were all age 10, um, or kind of around that age, and they found that 100% of the kids had heart disease, um, or the startings of the disease. They found aortic fatty streaks in the coronary arteries of all of the kids, 100% of them. So how do you get heart disease is the question. Is it a genetic problem? Well, a study on heart disease in Uganda in the 30s and 40s found that the disease was almost non-existent in the citizens there. Immigration studies show that this adversity to heart disease is not something in just the African genes. When people move from low risk to high risk areas, their disease rates skyrocketed as they adopted their diet and lifestyle. The culprit is cholesterol. So the study behind here actually followed men aged 18 to 39 for up to 34 years. The study found that cholesterol levels, even when you're young, predicts long-term risk for heart disease and death. So basically, they followed around these men for up to 34 years, and they just, constantly measured their cholesterol levels. And, some people died on the study. um, you know, some people lived, and they found that the ones with the lower cholesterol levels, um, received heart disease, got the disease at a much lower risk or much lower rate, and the ones that, had higher cholesterol levels, got heart disease at a lot higher rate. So really the question is, so cholesterol is a predicator of getting heart disease. But what is cholesterol? Um, you know, you don't want like high cholesterol levels if you're going to get, to prevent yourself from getting heart disease. Cholesterol is a fat substance found in all animal products. So it is found in humans, it's found in cows, pigs, chickens, dogs, cats. It's found in all animals. It's insoluble in water and must be bound to certain proteins to be transported through the blood. This combination of fats and proteins are called lipoproteins, and LDL is one of the body's lipoproteins. LDL-C is the amount of cholesterol carried by LDL and is really a predicator in predicting heart disease. The higher your LDL-C cholesterol levels are, then the higher risk you are for heart disease. Okay, so moving on. When LDL cholesterol infiltrates the lining of an artery and gets oxidized, it triggers an inflammatory response and can eventually block the artery. Cholesterol is a waxy substance that comes from two sources, your body and food. Your body, and especially your liver, makes all the cholesterol you need and circulates it through the blood. So that's definitely a pretty important key point, is that your body already produces the optimal amount of cholesterol for yourself. But cholesterol is also found in foods from animal sources such as meat, poultry, and full-fat dairy products. Your liver produces more cholesterol when you eat a diet high in saturated and trans fats. All right, so we already found out what cholesterol is and that your body already produces the optimal amount of cholesterol that you need. So kind of the question is, what is the optimal amount? Well, in a study that was published in the Journal of American College of Cardiology, they found that 50 to 70 milligrams per deciliter appears to be the optimal amount of cholesterol in your blood, and anything above that is where atherosclerosis and heart attacks start to develop. What's really interesting is they, published this chart right here that I posted for you guys, and it shows that basically here's your LDL cholesterol levels, and here is the percentage of coronary heart disease events, your likelihood for heart attacks, and it shows that basically the number of heart attacks increases as this LDL cholesterol level is going further and further up from the kind of 50 to 70 milligram per deciliter range. Um, the average person's LDL level, though, is 130, which is twice the physiological level, and that's definitely it's definitely a problem, and it's kind of a standard where in society that the standard kind of is to get heart disease. So really the question is, like, do you want to be like the average person and be likely to develop the risk for heart disease, or do you want to be above the average and better than the average and have like a more optimal cholesterol level of 50 to 70 and then completely eradicate your chances of getting heart disease, basically. Something else to note is that 50 to 70 milligrams per deciliter is actually the amount of cholesterol levels that are found in your blood whenever you're born. It's what we start off at as birth. It's also the levels that our fellow primates have, and it's also the levels seen in populations where heart disease is basically just non-existent. Okay, so a study also did kind of took I think it was around like 70 something people, around like 78 people, and they measured their cholesterol levels, and they found that on average, omnivores had the highest cholesterol levels, people that eat meat, dairy, eggs, and you can see here that their LDL cholesterol levels on average were 123 plus or minus 42, and shows lacto-ovo vegans finished second. Ones that still consume dairy. Lacto-vegetarians were even less at 87.71 plus or minus 41, and vegans were the lowest, finishing at 69.28 plus or minus 29, which is pretty close to the optimal level of cholesterol. How do you prevent yourself from getting it? The answer is a whole foods plant-based diet. If you don't add extra cholesterol to your diet through animal products, then you substantially decrease your risk for heart disease and get it close to non-existent. As evidenced by the graph in the previous slide, where it showed a study did where they took a bunch of people and measured measured rates of heart disease in the population. Also, a whole foods plant-based diet, so basically just has no added cholesterol. So with that no added cholesterol, your arteries, the blood's going to flow better, and you're not going to have all that excess plaque buildup that's going to narrow the blood flow and eventually lead to a blood clot. Also, whole foods plant-based diets are high in fiber, and I have a note over here about fiber. It appears that soluble fiber reduces the absorption of cholesterol in your intestines by binding with bile, which contains cholesterol, and dietary cholesterol, so the body excretes it. So basically, having a diet that's high in fiber also helps get rid of excess cholesterol in your arteries. A really cool study done by Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. Basically, he took different patients that were labeled as the Walking Dead. The Walking Dead were people that failed their first or second angioplasty. They failed their first or second heart bypass surgery, and they are too sick for these procedures and or told by their physician that they had less than a year to live. So these were people that are really plagued by heart disease, they didn't have many options left, and they came to Dr. Esselstyn for help. Um, he took all these patients and he put them on a whole foods plant-based diet, and 89% of his patients adhered to this diet. In over 10 years, only one had a major cardiovascular disease event, which was a stroke that was related to the progression of the disease, and none of his other patients that adhered to the program had, an episode, a recurrence of the disease that was caused, by the disease itself. So, a lot of his patients, 99.4% adherent patients avoided major cardiac events. So a lot of his patients that he treated that stuck to the plant-based diet, they prevented their heart disease, and a lot of them actually reversed it. This was a really cool added benefit. You can see on the left-hand side here, here's the blood flow through an artery, and you can tell that it's pretty clogged. And I guess it was like 30, maybe like 32 months later, the artery started to open up, and that was the difference. So what was really important from this study is it showed that not only could a whole foods plant-based diet prevent you from dying from heart disease, it also could reverse the disease as well. And I think that's definitely just absolutely astounding how you can just eat a whole foods plant-based diet, and with such a disease that's like killing 1 in 4 Americans, that you can basically just completely prevent yourself from getting it and eradicate it. And a lot of these patients were people that they went in and they were paying for really expensive surgeries that cost tons of money, and they they just switched their eating habits and they completely eradicated this disease. So, if vegan diet's the answer, what can you eat on a vegan diet? And I prepared these slides. These are things that me and my roommate Ryan, we're cooking on our 365-day vegan recipe challenge. We are cooking one vegan recipe every single day for a year, for you guys that don't know. And right here, you can see that we have these fully raw vegan brownie bites. Here is some vegan buffalo wings that we made. Here's tacos, and here is a potato Indian curry. And here's some more. Here's some chorizo tacos using a meat alternative that we bought at the store. Here's making a vegan burger from a vegan burger patty we bought that was already pre-made. Here is some vegan sushi we made and vegan French toast. So none of these have animal products or any, of the no cholesterol in the foods at all. And here's some vegan hot dogs, some Tofurky panini sandwiches. Basically, Tofurky is it's a turkey alternative that you can also find at the grocery store. Here's some pizza, and here's some Southwest breakfast tacos that we made. Really, like, you're not limited at all on the different options you can make. Really, a lot of the same dishes that aren't vegan, you can really just veganize them by buying the alternative. Maybe it's not always the healthiest option, but at least you're not going to have like just cholesterol in your food, and a lot of the other things that are associated with animal products, like bacteria in it that can cause inflammation in your body. Added IGF-1, which is definitely another topic for another time, which can lead to cancer. You don't have a lot of the risk for different diseases that are in the animal products by eating vegan. Another thing that I want to point out too, before ending this video, is that you actually have arteries that are in your brain too. So diseases like Alzheimer's, you also increase your risk by having higher cholesterol levels in your body for Alzheimer's as well. So um, I hope you guys learned some information from this video. I definitely did researching it. Um, Thank you guys for watching, and see y'all next time.